listening to Proof Text, a Glossa House podcast by Dr. T. Michael W. Halcomb, Dr. Fredrick J. Long, Dr. Mario Melendez, Dr. Jennifer Noonan, and J. M. Smith. Welcome and enjoy.
Hello, everybody. This is Fred Long with Proof Text, and we're doing constituent marking of 1 Corinthians chapter 12. And we're picking up with 12:16. So in 12:16, we see a ke, which we put a box around. Then we see an ean, which we also put a box around because it's a conjunction, but it's also starting a subordinate clause. So if. So I'm gonna presume that this is the first subordinate clause of others that we will see. Ipe is a single underline. I cut off the ending. It is an aorist active subjunctive, third singular. From ipon, I say or I said, and then to'us. To'us is single underline as the subject. So if the ear says, and then quote, comma quote, here is the second subordinate clause. And then so this is the second subordinate clause of direct discourse. So we can actually start to label these direct discourse. Because I am not an I. So here's the marking of that. And what's interesting is that the OT also starts with another subordinate clause. So here we have a third layer of subordinate clauses. And I'm going to start to another color here. And we could probably do that in each of these different subordinate clauses. So I could perhaps put this one as red, second subordinate clause. So you could start to kind of do some fun stuff with this. Because I am not an I am not from the body. I am, so the uk imi. So we have an ote uk imi ophthalmos. So the ophthalmos is single underlined with imi single underlined, and the uk is dotted, circled and dotted. The ot is boxed because it starts it's starting the direct discourse, but itself, it's functioning here as a supportive framework for the main sentence, which is, I am not from uk imi ektu somatos. So that is the ending of, I put a bracket around after somatos, because that's ending the third subordinate clause, which is a direct discourse. Actually, no, it's, I take that back. It's actually closing, that is closing the direct discourse, but I need to use a different color. So I'm going to close out the discourse with a red bracket, and then I need to close out the because clause, the OT clause, which is here indicating support. Because I am not an I am not from the body. So this is the direct discourse that is being reported that the ear says. So if the ear says, because I'm not an I, I'm not from the body, okay, now that's all of the if clause. And so we can actually close out the aeon clause. So the aeon clause also comes to end right there. All of this is the protasis. So aeon with the subjunctive, and then you have direct discourse, which itself also has a substantiatory OT clause. So all of these, you have three subordinate clauses, and so you have them numbered 1, 2, and 3. Now those are all closed. And now we come to the main clause. So the main clause is ou paratuto uk estin ektu somatos. And I think there should be a question mark here. This should actually end with a question mark. And so let's look at that. So the initial u here, there's u paratuto, not from this basis is it, So the para tuto is it translates something like from this. Para tuto, from this or on this basis. So it's not from this basis. And then when you have an working with a question, remember the rule of MNOP, that a may expects a negative answer, or uki expects a positive answer. So here, I'm wording this in such a way that it anticipates a positive response. It's not from this basis, isn't it? It's not from this basis, is it, that it is not from the body. And so this is then here the uk is a dotted underline, a dotted boxed, and then the estin is single underline, and then ek to somatos is put inside of parentheses. So you have paratuto, prepositional phrase in parentheses. You have ek to somatos in parentheses because it's a subordinate clause. And so this is kind of tricky to translate because the question is expecting a positive response in regard to a negative statement with this uk here. It is not, therefore, not from the body, is it? And then the answer is correct. It is not, therefore, on this basis, not a part of the body. So the logic here is kind of tricky, but basically what you have here is even if an ear says, hey, I'm not an eye, therefore I'm not a body, it's not on this basis that it is not a part of the body. And the question is expecting correct. You are correct. It is therefore not able to say on this basis it's not a part of the body. So regardless of what this ear thinks, if it's not evaluating itself as an eye, it doesn't matter. It is in fact still a part of the body of Christ. Okay, so Paul here is kind of working this logic out in a really intriguing way with this kind of self-dialogue. And the type of condition that this is, aeon with the subjunctive, followed by a present indicative, makes this a present conditional, general condition. So this is called a present general condition. It is always true, despite what the ear might think of itself. Well, I hope you found this helpful and look forward to having you listen and watch next time. Take care.
Interested in growing your ancient language skills but not sure where to start? Glossa House can help. From illustrated readers and short stories to lexicons and grammars, Glossa House offers a variety of resources for beginning, intermediate, and experienced ancient language learners. Head to glossahouse.com today. Glossa House, language resources for the global community.